Okay, now we are going to see how we can modify those cuts and slices that we have built in the previous video. Okay, so the focus of this video is we are going to discuss about these options available in our format visuals later. Okay, how we can modify the shapes and layout, how we can improve our callout values and further setups for our cuts and slicer. Okay, so let's go into our Power BI desktop, and this is the stage that we left off from our previous video. Yeah, so here, what I want to do now is we want to improve our slicer appearance. Okay, for example, this is still okay because this category is only having 4 different data. So we can use this vertical list is still okay for us because it is easy for us to display all these options, and this options listing is not taking a lot of space in our canvas. So this is still okay, acceptable. Okay, but the problem is for our manufacturer right now. For our manufacturer, we have a lot of data. Okay, so this is not the best display for our manufacturer slicer. So we want to improve this further. So we can select this slicer, and we can go into our second icon in this visualization pane, format your visual, click on it, and from here we can change the appearance of our slicer by going into this slicer settings. Okay, so as you can see here, by default it is using vertical list. We can change this to for example, we can change it to drop down, and instead of taking a lot of spaces, now it only takes about 2 or 3 lines from our canvas page. Okay, so we can make this container smaller, and if we want to use this slicer, we can just click on this drop down button, and we will be able to select all the items from this drop down list. Okay, so that is how we can change our slicer from vertical list to a drop down list. Okay, next, for this region. Okay, for this region right now, it is displayed in tiles. So we can further customize this by going into this second icon, same as before, and go to this visual category. And from here, we can change the shape of our slicer cuts or slicer tiles. Okay, by default, it is using a simple rectangle, but if you want to, you can also change it to rounded rectangle. And from here, we can control the corners of this rectangle. Okay, for example, if I increase this size, this rounded corner size, okay, it will become a lot more rounded. Okay, so depending on your preference, you can change these values around, and you can try to get whatever shape that you want to have. Okay, another shape available is this third one here, nip tab both top. So it will display in this manner. Okay, so this is all depends on your preference, which shape you want to use. Okay, and then what else can we do here? We can also change the layout. Okay, for example, by default, these tiles will be arranged in this manner. Okay, 3 by 3. Okay, that is why we have a lot of empty spaces right now. So let's try to reduce this, and let's try to make it as 1. Okay, because we can arrange this in a single row instead of having a 3 rows slicer tiles. Okay, so when we change this into a single row, when we modify our container, okay, so it will change accordingly, okay, according to our total container sizing. Okay, so if we don't want to have this in a single row arrangement, we want to have it in a single column arrangement, you can change these numbers around. Okay, for example, we can change this to 3 rows and 1 column. Okay, so now it looks like this. So let me make it slightly bigger and narrower. Okay, so we can change this orientation around by changing these numbers of rows and numbers of columns. Okay, so other than that, we can also change the alignment of our data inside this tile. Okay, so to do that, we can click or expand this setting, call out value setting, and we can change the horizontal alignment from here. okay, as well as the colors, obviously. Okay, so other than that, we can also change our buttons behavior. Okay, for example, if I hover my mouse on a button, okay, the color, the background color will change to this grayish color, right? So we can change this behavior by going into this selection state. Okay, state selection here. Okay, for example, I want to modify the hover state of these buttons, of this tile. So we can click on hover, and instead of using this grayish color, whenever we hover our mouse on top of a single tile, we want to change it to a different color. Okay, for example, this green color, so it will change accordingly. Okay, so that is how you can customize the behavior of your slicer tiles state. Okay, so that's about this tile slicer. So how about this slider? Okay, so to modify this, you can again go to the second icon, and from here we can change between these options. Okay, for date data, when we use it as our slicer, we have a lot of options available in this style. Okay, so maybe we want to change it to this relative date. You can also do that. So by using relative date, it is filtering our data relative to a given date reference. So for example, this and then day, so meaning our date today. So our date today right now in my system is showing as 25th January 2024, and obviously our data is not available up to year 2024, right? So that is why we don't have any summarized data in our cards. So that is if we use this as relative date. Okay, normally when we want to slice according to date, we normally use this option between. Okay, so by using this, we can ensure that our data will be available. Okay, because this date is given to us according to our data. Okay, so this is the minimum date available in our database, and this is the maximum date available in our database. Okay, so normally this is how we want to use this date as slicer. Yeah. Okay, so we have seen how we can modify our slices, and now let's take a look at our cut. So for this cut, by default, it will show us this value. It will try to show us the value to fit our cut. Okay, so that is why right now the total revenue is shown in terms of billions, and the total quantity is shown in terms of millions. So if I want to change this, we can go to this format visual button for our cuts, and we can go to this option here, call out values. Okay, from here, we can change how we want to display these values. So for example, if I change this to none, okay, so as you can see here, because of the container size of our card, the total revenue number is not shown in full. Okay, so we need to increase the container size in order for us to see the total figures of this total revenue, right? So I'm going to create another card to show you how we can improve this without having to change the container size. Okay, so let's build a new one, and let me get the size to be similar to the card that we have up here. Okay, so now I'm going to include the same thing into this second card here, but I'm going to modify it further. Okay, so first of all, we have this option to change our card shape similar to what you see when we want to modify our region slicer. We have the same shape available here. Okay, next, we also can change the layout. So this is what I want to show you now. So instead of creating these cards in a single row, such as per what we have right now, we can change it as a single column. So when we change it as a single column, as you can see, the total revenue and total units right now is shown vertically. Okay, so right now, if I change my call out values, I want to show the display without any units. So I will be able to see all the values in individual cards. Okay, so that's how it is. You can change the layout from single row to single column. And if you have multiple values, okay, let me try to search if I have another value available. Okay, I have another value available here, total score. So let me add it into this card visual. Okay, so if I have multiple items here, I can also change the layout. Instead of showing me in a single column, I can specify explicitly how many columns and how many rows that I want to display. Okay, for example, here I can change it into a grid arrangement, and I can I can specify specifically how many rows and how many columns that I want to show. Okay, for example, 2 by 2. Okay, so this will be the result. Okay, so this is up to you how you want to display your card. You can change between single column, single row, or a grid arrangement. So that is what we can do for the layout. Okay, other than that, all are similar settings as per what we have learned in previous visuals. Additional to this is this cards settings. We can change the background color for individual cards. Okay, for example, for total revenue, I want to use a different color than others. I want to change this color background to yellow, for example. So only the total revenue card will be using this yellow color. The rest will still be using the default color white. Okay, so that's all the customization that we can perform for these cards and slices. So after this, we are no longer going to discuss further on individual visuals. Instead, we are going to discuss how we want to create a complete report page with multiple visuals in a single page. Okay, and after that, we are going to discuss further on several other topics. So let us meet again in the next video.